So, shut off by no battery power, battery depleted. We'll see whether the last file worked or not. It probably is okay. So anyway, $3 million judgment, I gather, I heard long after. Meanwhile, in between, when they were litigating, Howie told me that the patent was worthless. From motherfucker. Anyway, I could say that I have the pride of accomplishment in it without any extra remuneration. I was, what, 10,000 a year, or I don't know, $10 an hour, I don't know. First while developing, and then while babysitting the functioning system in the hospital. And in between, working with two potential programmers, Muradian, an old colleague of Wendy Plum's that and Howie's, who had had a stroke and was actually declining mentally and so forth. And he failed to make useful software. And every time I would mention some aspect of what was required in the software, he would say, "Oh, that makes the cheese more binding." And when we met to discuss the creation of this software, Boo would always rather go to a flea market, a garage sale, whatever. This was his life hobby. Anyway, and then Fen Huntington. Well, Fen delivered. I don't need to say much more about Fen. But he did deliver, and we did debug and babysit together, and it was friendly. And once or more was invited to his house, family dinner. I think, yes, by this time there was Lydia. I think this is 1975. So that was my last employment. Yes. After that came P.R. Hughes and Company, Inc. Well, P.R. Hughes and Company, and then 1979-80. New Year's, 1979-80. The formation of P.R. Hughes and Company, Inc. Followed by 20 years of rather successful business and pleasure of work pleasure. For the workaholic or whatever that I was, always ready to sit down and sketch out a circuit or think about something in process or whatever, get a little more of the face and a little less of the wall. Anyway, there was an epiphany once of, my goodness, they're paying me a lot of money. Around this, I may have been earning $200,000 a year or something. They pay me a lot of money to do what you couldn't pay me not to do. Could hardly talk me into not doing it. Weekends and it was an old habit from when I was first working at Moleculon as a junior scientist and studying and practicing, building things together out of junk and whatever. It's a long development. And by 2001, it was over. 2000, I dismantled the 6,000 square foot workspace in Hudson, in this old tower. Moved back into my basement and reorganized as much of the stuff as I thought was worth saving, and then did nothing with it. I really had nothing to do. Well, that was the end. From then on, for let's say half a year or so, Chiquita repairs, fixing malfunctioning or otherwise thermostats. Some of it warranty repair, rarely warrantable, 1 year warranty, and followed later by 2 years warranty because of a knockdown drag out fight that Lydia and I had over the moral status, shall we say, of my including used thermostat parts like circuit boards, this board, that board, in new thermostats, which were perfectly functional. There was nothing wrong with them. But the idea, let's say, of using recycled components. So we resolved that without murdering anyone. We resolved that by extending the warranty to Chiquita for 2 years from just 1. And all I had to do anymore with electronics was fixing the buggers when they came back. And most of them we charged for. And maybe still making a few new ones, I don't know. But it ended. And then I came to Germany in June of 2001 to meet and be with Ramesh S. Balsekar, the author of a book recommended by my Tibetan Buddhist / Orthodox rabbi friend, the name doesn't come up right now, Miles Krasson, lovely man, who at a public lecture once about Jewish mysticism or something in a church. Was talking and talking, and I frequently had the feeling that I knew what he would say next. And when I told him that, he said, "Oh, in that case, you ought to read A Duet of One by Ramesh S. Balsekar." Eventually I did. Eventually I noticed sort of peculiar occurrences, like sitting in an seminar room during setup or breakdown, reading the book and noticing two very different women nearby each other. One like mouth-wateringly beautiful, breathtakingly beautiful, and the other one stomach-curdlingly ugly. And it was like an object lesson. What the hell is going on here? That these two people produce such different responses in me. Huh. Well, it's not so mysterious, but anyway, Lydia said, "Yeah, let's go see Ramesh." We had done a weekend with his what he called spiritual son, Wayne Lickerman, in Plymouth, Massachusetts, and found out that Ramesh would be doing seminars, 2-week-long seminars in Dingolfing, Germany at Gut Schermau. Gut, well, actually that means like Hof, or like farmstead, let's say. Anyway, Gut Schermau. Lydia said, "Oh yeah, let's go, and we could see the Tatra Mountains, and we could do this, that, and the other thing." And then she changed her mind and said, "No, I'm not going. I don't trust you." Oh my goodness. "I'm not going, I don't trust you." Well, she was right. I went, met Gabi, whistled second movement of Bach's double violin concerto, I the second, she the first violin, hugged, and at first hug I fell in love with something about this woman. There's something special about this woman. And this, that, and the other thing. Ultimately, this was a Saturday night. Sunday, I followed her to Munich and stayed with her overnight. And in the morning, I left on the bus for the airport, waving goodbye to a little tiny girl with her bicycle. Well, adrift in the world, adrift in the big world, in what I remember as a green, I want to say felt, but fuzzy fabric, I think, dress, and her little pink bicycle. And I came back, and we went to India together, and different planes, but nevertheless, and that was it. By October, a, could say marriage or whatever, psychological counselor counseling me and Lydia asked, well, Hughes, you want to stay or leave? And I said, I want to leave. And that was the beginning of the end, and the final end, January 13th, the next year. 2002, January 13th. Or it's 2001, I don't know. Yeah, 2002. 2001 had these supposed airplanes from Saudi Arabia, driven by Saudi Arabians, destroying the 2 World Trade Center towers. This was a false flag operation by the U.S. government and in cooperation with the Saudis and the Israelis. I suspect that the Israeli Secret Service installed the explosives and got the hell out of there. Except some Israelis dancing in the parking lot or on the rooftop of their car or whatever it is across the Hudson River in New Jersey, I think, watching the Twin Towers be destroyed. And blame it on the Iraqis, blame it on bin Laden. I saw a video representing itself as what happened with President Bush after he was finally told in the school classroom where he was doing photo ops, flown off in Air Force One from here to there and hither and yon, I think different air bases or whatever. In any case, this video made the point that President Bush was informed as to what to say and do as a result of this Twin Tower occasion. Bin Laden, bin Laden, bin Laden, Al-Qaeda, 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 or else. Not Rumsfeld, not the other R, whatever his name is, Rumsfeld. Out for photo ops on the lawn when supposedly the U.S. is under attack. Oh, I'll go help the wounded. Right. I am in charge of military response, so I'll go help the wounded in the outside of the Pentagon, where our cruise missile blew up that department that was investigating the $3 trillion missingness announced by Rumsfeld and thereafter entirely forgotten. Pew. No plane ever hit the Pentagon, that's very clear. No plane ever hit Building 7 of World Trade Center, but it went down in a controlled demolition anyway. From top to bottom, it sank a bit in the middle and then went pancaking Oh yeah, pancaking with explosive assistance. Blow out the resistance and the pancakes flop together. That's what they did. So. How could you imagine bringing to justice any of these characters? Well, you know that the top cats never go to jail. They never get shit, man. You know that. That's the system. The system is there to protect the top cats against all the bottom cats. Larry Silverstein, famous for, go ahead, pull it. Yes. Pull it. Oh yeah, pull it. And collecting something like 7 billion or 3 billion, I don't know. I mean, these 3 collapses were all separate incidents, right? Yeah, right. Okay. Wired up by different Israeli SEAL teams, yes. Perhaps. I forget how long after, but Silverstein had a modification to the insurance policies on the Trade Center that would pay full value in case of a terrorist attack. Duh. And on the morning of 9/11, Mr. Silverstein was noticeably absent from the restaurant at the top of the Trade Center, where he always met his daughter or something, pretty much, for breakfast every day, pretty much. That day he was absent. So was the Israeli delegation. Lots of Israelis and related people didn't show up for work that day, rescheduled something and didn't show up. Gee, do you think there was any insider trading, insider knowledge? Oh yeah, insider trading, yes, the shorting of airline stocks. And I mean, that's like a clear smoking gun. Anybody who shorted airline stocks shortly before 9/11 was in on the impending deed. They knew it. Maybe an exception or two, but apparently there was a large business in shorting airline stocks in that time frame. How to gain from catastrophe. Stealing other people's money. Well, it shows low battery, and this is 24 minutes. That's incredibly long, and I'm going to stop. Thank you.